Well, it's a Monday night and we are racing here in the Pacific Northwest for night number 1 of Western Sprint Tour, also known as Oregon Speedweek. Now, Oregon Speedweek is a 360 sprint car speed week between 4 different tracks, 5 nights of racing in 6 days, and the 18T is gonna be running every single show. So welcome back to today's video. We're pumped to be running on a Monday night in the Pacific Northwest because this does not happen too often. And I feel like we even have some hype, and I talked about the morale being up on the team after Carly's victory in the 22C at the Southern Oregon Speedway. Now tonight we're at the Coos Bay Speedway and you can see the 18T behind me. Now I want to take you guys up to the racetrack, show it to you because this place is unique for many different reasons. So we are right off the back straightaway here at the Coos Bay Speedway, and one thing that's different than most places we go is how close we are to the ocean. So it's not 100 degrees, it's not 110 like it's even been in Southern Oregon. Being by the coast, it's very windy and it's like 70 degrees at the top. If we walk up to the track, another thing I always mention about this place is how it likes to flatten off about halfway up. The banking carries a little bit, even the bottom doesn't have a lot of banking, but it slowly gets more and more aggressive and then it flattens off at the top, and they told us that is because they need a place to drive the water truck around like they are doing right now. And one last characteristic to mention about the Coos Bay Speedway is the scenery and where we're located. We're just in a clearing just a couple of miles from the Oregon coast. It's absolutely beautiful. The weather's always great. They usually pack the grandstands right across the way and there's not really a bad seat in the house. So we're gonna get night number 1 of 360 Speed Week started. I'm really pumped. I think we have close to 20 360s in the pit area. Well, we just finished up qualifying here at the Coos Bay Speedway. I felt much better than I did in hot laps. In hot laps, it was one of my first times being back here in a 360 since 2018. Felt good, just was working on trying to get the balance of the race car. Went out there and qualified for 2 laps. Ended up 4th quick out of 18 360s. And like I said, I felt much better for qualifying. The track ended up being better. It was really, really greasy when we did engine heat. And there's also just so much moisture in the air. Since we're so close to the coast, and I think Bennett mentioned it in his vlog, there's fog that's rolling in, but if you were to go like 2 miles inland, it's completely clear skies. It really feels like it's gonna rain right now. It's chilly, windy, so those are just a lot of things when you're racing that close to the ocean. Anyway, heat races are gonna be up next. I think they're gonna be doing a 6-car invert. It's all a combination of points in qualifying and your heat race that set you up for the top 6, which make a redraw and do a dash for the top 6 starting spots in the A main event. So now that we're gonna be rolling off from 5th, I think in the first heat race, we gotta try to pass as many cars as possible and see where that puts us. Well, 5th to 2nd there in our heat race for night number 1 of Western Sprint Tour. The racetrack here at Coos Bay, I only have really good things to say about it. It's really smooth. When we started the night, I talked about how muddy the race car was. It was super wet out there. Then for hot laps, it was kind of slimy. Through qualifying, it maybe got a little bit better, but it's starting to burn off even with this fog. And for the heat race, you could run the bottom, which they have big infield tractor tires, and you can get your left front right down by them, and there's also a little bit of a berm, but you can roll down there and you have to wait on it. The racetrack looks like it has grip everywhere, but it's just really sandy. And if you move about 2 car lengths off the bottom, that's kind of where the middle is, which is the highest part of banking. Like, the racetrack really couldn't get much wider. In the heat race after us, the leader led all 8 laps on the bottom, and second was right on the right rear the whole time. So we made some passes, made a couple of mistakes, but overall I felt like I drove the car well. We made some adjustments to get the car kind of through the middle, could also move around to the bottom, and I think that's what we're going to need as we continue to go throughout the night. We're going to have to be able to change directions on this very narrow racetrack. So more heats are coming. Let's go watch.
I'll keep mine.
All right, she's going to be nice. She's going to keep Holmes out of Jacksonville. It's the 6. Oh, the 6.
Nice one.
Thank you.
All right, and it's number 1 for Tanner Holmes in the 18T. 4 for car number 4, Joey.
Well, so far our night's going pretty good. We went 5th to 2nd in the heat, and we just pulled the 1 in a little revenge style. So I had Corey Day to my left. He actually ended up having the 1. I traded with him. I had the 6, but we didn't know this, and so he ended up keeping. He could have taken his back or traded with anyone. So it's a little bit of a different format. You get a box, you can keep it, you can trade. But this time I ended up, guessing the right one, I guess you could say. Bennett filled in for another driver, and that driver ended up getting the 2. So Bennett and I just went 1-2 in the revenge draw. We start on the pole of the dash. 5 laps here. If we can win this, we will start on the pole of the feature. Well, we started on the front row of that 5-lap dash, ended up getting a good jump the first time. There was a yellow, had to do it all over again. Got another good jump because there was a lot of grip on the bottom. And honestly, I thought the top was gonna be better, just like the heat races, but it's almost just a little too far around. It's starting to get to the point where there's no banking. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's getting pushed over the banking and it's flattening off. And you can really use that. You can still drive it hard, get the race car right, and it's just way shorter around. So we ended up making a gear change, making some changes to our setup.
Start second.
Start second.
Start second.
So far, a good start to Speedweek, though.
Yes. Just work on the top 5 tonight. Top 3.
You heard my dad. We want to run up front. We want to chase a win. I think the goal going into this A, starting front row outside, wait for lap traffic. There's going to be a lot of traffic, and that's when things are really going to get interesting. So have patience, get a good start, and go from there. So we're heading out right now. They're doing a little bit of last minute track prep in the form of just spraying the top a little bit. So they're gonna push us out. We start second. Remember, lap traffic, gotta keep our speed up. Watch the changing racetrack because of the top and the bottom. But I think lap traffic's gonna be the biggest factor in us, getting the win in this race. So gotta go out there, put together some consistent laps, put ourselves in a good spot, and have patience. Well, it is about time to load up the 18T. I'm gonna get changed. A lot of awesome fans here at Coos Bay tonight. We ran 4th in the feature, a lot to talk about, but I have to show you guys the surface. I have seen actually a couple times here at Coos Bay where it got super wide, but I have never ever seen a surface like tonight. And this, I know we're gonna have some good tracks coming up, but this is definitely gonna be in the running for the best track of 2021 Western Sprint Tour Speed Week. Well, if you would have told me when we showed up the Coos Bay Speedway would have been this wide and fairly racy, the bottom was really good there on the dash, and we were kind of surprised that the top fell off like that. Brian Crockett and the promoter of Coos Bay made the decision like, hey, before the 360s roll out, it's the final feature, let's throw some water on the top side, and they did that, and the grip came right back up. And it wasn't like a lot of grip, it was just way over the banking almost, or at least right at the edge. I've never seen the Coos Bay Speedway this wide and this far up. We won a limited race here back in 2019, and it was around what we thought was the top then, but I guess with that extra 150, 200 horsepower the 360s have, they can go up even farther. We started second and ran second. I actually got a pretty good start next to the 8 of Justin Cox. I kind of went side by side with him into 1, side by side down the back straightaway, but ultimately the bottom just had a little bit more grip, and I was kind of in no man's land through the middle. We both kind of went to the bottom because that's what was good in the dash, and I did not want to get stuck on the top, but about 6 or 7 laps later, I found out the top was actually really good, and the 41 of Corey Day blew my doors off, and he went on to win the A. We had a couple of yellows, and then it went green from there, I think the last 20 laps, and those guys, I guess, were just right on the very edge, right rear in the grip. And I'm a little disappointed with our 4th place run. I mean, it was great to be in the top 5, and I think there's a lot of positives, especially after Ohio Speed Week and then struggling so bad at Dirt Cup. Like, we had overall a solid night on paper, you know, qualifying 4th, 5th to 2nd in the heat race. You know, we pulled the 1, ran 2nd in the dash, and then 4th in the A, which is not bad. That's my best ever finish with the Western Sprint Tour. But in the A, I found a decent rhythm, but I was just never able to find anything to get better and better as the race went on. As the track changed, I just wasn't able to change and adapt to continue gaining speed. I kind of just stayed where I was at. I moved around, but every single time I moved around, I never found anything better. And I think if I would have really moved up as far as I could on the top, that might have been the only other option. Worked around the top, worked through the middle, even went down low, but just never found anything. Overall, I think the 18T was a great top 5 car tonight. Had some speed. The drivers just got to be a little bit better, and overall, I'm ready to take on the rest of the next 4 nights of Western Sprint Tour. Bennett, you saw it all from the infield. It was pretty cool, I bet, to watch.
It was pretty cool. It kind of reminded me of Muskegum, how it was like that final night where it was like slick all the way. I don't know if it was necessarily a curb, but it was that grip line that you would just get your right rear at. So, you know, there were some people in the back working the bottom pretty well, and then the top was just so far around. The slide jobs you could actually clear pretty nicely, so it wasn't too close, but hats off to the crew here. I thought the track was really racy and really fun to watch.
Yeah, Coos Bay continued to impress us tonight. So like I said, we're going to get a little bit better on the driver end, continue to just work harder and harder. The great thing is we have 4 more nights and we're headed to the Willamette Speedway tomorrow. So overall, with where our 360 program was at 2 weeks ago at Dirt Cup and that disaster, what we did tonight was pretty good. So a great way to start the week and something to build off of in the future. See you guys all for night number 2 at Willamette. We're headed to Lebanon. Deuces.